popping out every day, prom night. So if it's all love, show me love.
Hello, I am back. And I wanted to come back and talk about Real Housewives of Potomac because I promised y'all we were going to talk about it. And I kind of had to catch up, to be quite honest, on the reunion. I know we're on season 8 reunion part 2. Part 3 will be coming out soon. I just recently watched reunion part 2, so we'll get into some of the juiciness, and we'll talk also about client profiles and how I would help some of these cast members if they were potential clients, or if I had a client that was similar with some of the similar presenting issues. And that's one of the things that I love about reality TV, that we can see ourselves in a lot of these characters, different issues that they're having, relationship issues that they're having. I think sometimes that's why it makes us cringe so much to watch certain things like Robyn and Juan. We'll get into that. But I want to do a recap on Real Housewives, the cast, some of the presenting issues that we've seen throughout the years in all of their seasons, and kind of give an overview of if I had a client that was similar, how I would help that client, what kind of treatment plan we would be looking at in regards to that client. I also want to share that I've been continuing to watch Vanderpump, and I've started to watch The Valley. And now Lisa has The Villa. So I will be watching those as well, and probably chiming in on some of the cast members there as well. But I definitely wanted to do a Real Housewives of Potomac overview and planning, patient planning, if you will, because many of us out there watch Real Housewives. I love Real Housewives. In particular, I watch Potomac, I watch Atlanta, I watch New York. They have a new cast. We'll see. The new cast for New York has been okay. I watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Real Housewives of the OC is one of my favorites, with Tamra and the gang. So those are some of my favorites. I don't watch Miami. There's a couple other ones I don't watch. I'll watch here and there, but I have my faves, and I love my Real Housewives. I'll probably be doing a lot more content for Real Housewives. But right now we're talking about Real Housewives of Potomac. We're on season 8 with Real Housewives. We have a new cast member, Nneka. This year we see her and her lovely husband and her little doggy and her lovely home, and them really getting excited about baby planning. Nneka is a really good, refreshing cast member. I kind of heard some rumors that she won't be coming back. We know Candiance won't be coming back. But I really did enjoy Nneka, watching her. She really tried to blend in with the ladies. She was really hurt by Wendy, and Wendy's kind of whispering about her. I felt bad for Nneka about that. I think Nneka dealt with it really, really well. So, all in all, I think she's a great addition to the cast. She seems to have a good head on her shoulders. And, I think she's handling herself well on the show. Again, I don't know if she's coming back. I know that maybe a lot of times on these shows, they want a lot of drama. If you're not bringing the drama, you're not going to be on the show. So there's that. So that's something we have to think about. Now, before we get to the reunion, part 2, and the cast and some of the things, I really wanted to start off with Mia, because Mia, the last episode was like, whoa. One of my friends was like, you need to watch Gordon Goes In. We've never seen Gordon go in like this. We've never seen Gordon be so frustrated. One of the things I appreciate about Mia is that she's very transparent. She's always been very transparent. And I think this season in particular, she's been more transparent than usual, talking about her trauma, her sexual assault. She also, let me take that back. Since she's been on the show, talking about struggles with mom and mom's addiction and just the trauma that she's experienced in her life. I would definitely say that she has some complex trauma that she is dealing with. And I hope that she's in ongoing therapy for that and some of the abandonment issues and that she's experienced. I think Mia does a good job of really just being like, this is who I am. With that being said, this arrangement that her and Gordon had, you know, I don't see how that couldn't have went sour. I really don't. And it's also a testimony to social media, how people can stay connected. Like, she has this guy from high school that she stayed connected with all this time. And social media can really just rip apart relationships. I mean, we've seen it 1,000 times in our personal lives and our friends' lives and our families' lives. And so I feel really bad for both parties. I'm not really upset that, you know, Mia said earlier that she just married Gordon for his money, and a lot of people are saying that, well, she just married him for his money, she just married him because he had money. Well, you know what, Gordon probably married her because she was young and vibrant and beautiful, and he wanted a beautiful woman on his arm. So guess what, they both got what they wanted. He wanted this beautiful woman who was young and vibrant and probably he didn't have a lot in common with, and she wanted a man that was older who could take care of her, and she got that. So hey, if it works for both of them, who am I to judge, right? I keep saying Mia. So Mia, she definitely needs to be in ongoing therapy for her complex trauma. I think EMDR work would be really helpful for Mia, because Mia, when it's time to cope with things that aren't so good, she doesn't have, I don't think, really healthy coping mechanisms, and she has a way of lashing out. So we would really be working on, if I had a client like Mia, working on emotional regulation, working on that complex trauma through some EMDR work to see if we can kind of reroute some of those traumatic things that she's holding in her body and her nervous system, and try to see if we can work through them and let her heal from that, and to see if that would help her in her personal relationships. I hate to hear that the children were exposed to some of the stuff that Mia was dealing with, but what we see is that generational turmoil, right? Mia went through a lot as a child, and we see that emotional turmoil continue with her children, unfortunately, in a different way, but then being exposed to kind of what's going on with mom and dad, and then Mia having this new relationship. So I wish Mia the best. I appreciate on both reunions as well as the show, she's very transparent. She speaks her mind. We know now that Gordon has a nugget of something he wants to share with us in the next reunion show. So they kind of left that as a cliffhanger for us. So we'll see what Gordon has to say. But I hope the best for them, and I really hope that the children are going to be able to be protected through this. I think it's going to be really challenging for that to be the case at this point, because everything is kind of out there. I also want to talk about Candiance. I feel I empathize with Candiance a lot. No, Candiance is not, I don't think, 100%, you know, correct and valid for how she comes at Gizelle and Robyn. We'll get to them. However, I can watch Candiance and see someone who is really hurt and traumatized, quite frankly, by being on the show. Candiance, you know, with her and Monique, they had that huge physical fight. Then Gizelle came for her marriage, and you know, the whole thing with Candiace's husband just seemed like they pulled that out the sky. It was random. It was mean. It wasn't great. I don't know if it was just to have a storyline, but it wasn't great. It wasn't giving anything positive, and I really felt bad for Candiance, because as we know on a lot of these reality TV shows, in particular Real Housewives, a lot of these marriages don't last. And a lot of, you know, you come in there, no marriage is perfect. There's cracks, there's things you're working on. Hopefully you have a strong foundation, right? If you don't, you go on the show and it could ruin your marriage. Like, full stop. No, the show alone does not ruin a marriage, but it adds a huge crack and things start to really peel apart. And we see that over and over again with a lot of the cast members on a lot of the Real Housewives shows. And it's really sad to see. And I think Candiance is doing the right thing. We know what she said March 25th. Hey, not going to be on the show anymore. She needs to take time out for herself, coupled with the fact that she is trying to have a baby. Hugely stressful. And I really like to see that she's getting, you know, therapy, that she's working through things, but she's trying to protect her marriage, protect her family. Candiance reminds me of clients when I look at the dynamic between her and her mother that has a lot of trust issues, growing up. And I would assume, I could be wrong, but how we've seen interactions with mom, her and mom are in a really good place now. But I think there are ways that Candiance as a child needed to be seen and loved by mom that she didn't receive. And she really doesn't trust people. She doesn't trust people because of it. And then when people let her down, it's like she goes all the way to the left. I feel like she thinks Gizelle is literally the devil. Like she feels like Gizelle can't do anything right. They asked her in the reunion, well, what do you think about this or that, or Gizelle being there for you? She's like, well, actually, Robyn was there for me more. And Gizelle's just like, I've been there for you. I have my own ideas and thoughts about Gizelle and Robyn. We'll get there. But I really think that that Candiance is making the best decision for Candiance right now, taking a step back, focusing on her family. You could see throughout the reunion part 2, she was crying a lot. And even in 1, she was crying a lot. She's dealing with a lot, as they all are. But right now, Candiance needs to take care of Candiance and her family and her husband and just take a step back. And I applaud her for doing that because, the show can be a lot. Hopefully that's, maybe a recommendation that she got in therapy to think about, what do you need to focus on you? Because they came for her marriage and it was completely unwarranted. We could do a whole segment about that, but it was completely unwarranted. So, with Candiance working on her own self-care, working on setting boundaries, continuing her ongoing therapy, really maybe finding even a support group of other women that are in this stage of trying to have a baby can be really hard. And you can be really hard on yourself. Maybe some CBT work as well. If she's having some negative self-talk, how can we kind of counter that? Make sure that we continue to have healthy routines and self-care and taking time out for ourselves. She seems very busy with her music and her family and the show. Hopefully taking the show off of her will also help her kind of, get some of the clutter and the stress out of her life. So I'm hoping and wishing the best for Candiance. Now, Gizelle. I think, this season with Gizelle, I really enjoyed. This was my favorite season with Gizelle. I typically don't align with Gizelle. She's just not my cup of tea. I'll be honest. She's just not. Her and Robyn, just not my cup of tea. That's okay. That being said, I think I really loved watching Gizelle go through this new transition with her daughter, going to college. She's going to be an empty nester soon. And so we got to see that transition for her. And I think that's what this new guy is all about. Having him in her life, bringing her a slice of fun. Her identity is changing. She's poured all her time into her children. And that's another thing. I say all of the women seem to be great, phenomenal mothers, really great mothers. And I love to watch that. And we see Janelle preparing her daughter for college and, letting her daughter leave the nest. And that was a really heartfelt scene to watch. I love her with this new young guy and having fun. I love her enjoying herself. I love the fact that she, went to Robyn about Juan, in a come to Jesus moment, loving way. Hey, let's talk about it. But she was still there for her friend. I don't really have anything bad to say about Gizelle. I don't know if Gizelle's in therapy. If I had a client, sorry, here goes my emoji thing. If I had a client like Gizelle, I would just say, keep doing what you're doing, quite honestly. I think she set some really healthy boundaries with Candiance after that blip. She doesn't really say much around Candiance. She doesn't add fuel to the fire. She does a really good job keeping herself poised and just letting that be. And I think I think Gizelle is this season really doing a good job regulating her emotions, setting healthy boundaries, doing the things that she enjoys for herself, being honest and transparent. And now she's lost her father. And that's really hard. And so I really hope that Gizelle, all prayers going out to Gizelle, that she is having the support around her that she needs. We've also seen Karen really come to everybody's space of just nurturing them and being there for them with Mia, who's, not her bestie, but with Mia, with Gizelle, With all of the girls, Karen is always kind of, like she says, Switzerland or the fence and tries to be there. So that's all I have to say about Karen as well this season. I think she's fabulous. I love Karen, the grande dame. She is, I love watching Karen. She's phenomenal and she's great. I love her. Now, Robyn and Juan. We'll talk about Robyn and Juan, and then I think we'll close it up. Ashley, she's still not divorced. We could talk about that all day. I don't really have any problems with Ashley. But Juan and Robyn, you know, it's really, really, really hard to watch Robyn say, Juan clears out his text messages all the time. I don't know his text, you know, I haven't seen the text messages because he cleans out his phone. Red flag. Red flag. This whole scandal with this woman and then him going out to the nail salon with a coworker who's gorgeous. What are you doing? How are you protecting your marriage? We saw several scenes where Robyn, throughout the season, tried to talk to Juan and get comfort from Juan because of how the girls were asking her questions or worried about her or maybe just kind of attacking her. And Juan was no help. Juan was not a nurturing space for Robyn. Juan didn't even show up for the reunion. Juan is not. Juan is their relationship is very fractured, and I really applaud Robyn for being so strong and being able to essentially put up with this mess. Because what that is mess. And, you know, we see this. We know friends and family members and that deal with stuff like this. But I really hope that Robyn eventually does what's best for Robyn. And maybe she feels that Juan is best for her. But if we were in couples therapy or even individual therapy, I would really be wondering for Robyn, why does she toe the line here? Why does she put up with this stuff with Juan? How or who sees her in her life? Who comforts her in her life? Does Robyn feel a lot of times isolated and alone? Who does she really express herself to and feels is there for her when she falls? Where does she land? I feel like Robyn just holds a lot. She's here like just holding it together. And I worry about that. I really do. We know Robyn comes from a 2-parent home and her parents are still married, and that foundation is probably really important to her. I would bet that that's probably one of the reasons why she's really wanted to try to make this work. I also see in clients like this, there's this fear of cutting the cord and cutting the relationship for several reasons. For the children, what's the adjustment going to be like for them? And also, will I ever find another partner or another love or another companion? And in that case, I always ask clients, if leaving that person, and if you leave that person and you never find another partner that you want to commit to and have a life with, would you still feel like you want to leave your partner? And if the answer is yes, then you're out of there. But if the answer is, I don't know, I don't want to be alone, then we have to address that piece. We have to address the fear of, oh my gosh, what if I never find another partner? Because happiness is a choice, and wherever you go, there you are. Okay? So if you're not happy by yourself, then you're not going to be fully happy in a relationship either. It's just, you know, happiness is just not like this permanent feeling. We have to work at our happiness. We have to choose things that make us happy. We have to set boundaries. It's a verb. Like, we have to do things to create our happiness and create the happiness that we want for ourselves. So that would be the question I would be asking a client like Robyn. And Juan, I don't think is a good candidate for therapy. I think when he sat on that show and was like, I'm just too nice of a person. I couldn't believe it. His ego could fill this room right now. And Robyn's not doing him any favors, just allowing this behavior to continue on and not setting any boundaries with Juan. Not to say that if she left him, he wouldn't go and do this somewhere else with someone else. But I know we've seen that Juan has gone through a lot in his life, and that could be part of the reasons why he shows up in the way he does. But until he's ready to do that work and really kind of respect the marriage thoughtfully, like, there's really nothing else to share about that. But I really hope that Robyn figures this out. She seems to be and stand firm on she wants to stay in their marriage. So, you know, we support that. I love the fact that the girls are like, hey, if you like it, I love it. If this is what you want to do, this is, you know, hey, if you don't care, if you don't give an F, we don't give an F, like Karen said. Like, I don't have anything to say about it. But the writing is on the wall, and I really hope, you know, Robyn is a beautiful woman. She's smart. She has beautiful children. She has friends that love her. With or without a partner, Robyn will be fine. She just has to know that. She has to know that and believe that in here. And it's hard to watch because I think all of us are watching and we know that, right? That being said, Robyn is not necessarily my cup of tea because the hypocrisy is like mind-blowing with how she comes at Candiance when she does the same things, or how she came at Candiace's husband this last reunion. It's like, honey, why don't you focus on Juan and what you got going on instead of this, you know, alleged situation with this other woman that Candiace's husband was dealing with. But, you know, none of my business. So those are my 2 cents on how I would work with clients and what are some of the questions I would be asking and what are some of the goals that we would be working on. All in all, I really feel this season, in a lot of the reality TV shows right now, you see that mental health piece. You see people really working on their mental health, trying to right their wrongs, trying to be healthier people. And that's all what we can ask for with anybody. So I wish them all well. I can't wait to tune in to part 3. I'm not sure if I'll do another one of these for part 3. I think I've kind of wrapped up the women. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about Ashley if that sparks my interest, or clients that I have that are, you know, presenting some of those same issues. But I am watching The Valley, Vanderpump, and The Villa. I'm going to see if there's some other shows. I don't know when some of my other Real Housewives are coming out, their seasons, but I'm sure they will be. And I'll go from there. So until next time.
Bitches, I'm on go like I don't see no stoplights. I'm stepping out every day.